Let's do it.
Jim, I understand it's important for us to eat whole grains. We hear that all the time. But what exactly makes up a whole grain?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, a whole grain is made up of three components. Okay. So there's the bran, which is kind of a protective covering on the outside of the kernel. And that's where a lot of the fiber is and some of the vitamins and nutrients. There's what's called the endosperm, and that's mainly made up of carbohydrates or sugar. And then we have the wheat germ, which is the embryo of the plant. And so the idea is that the seed, the kernel falls onto the ground. The wheat germ starts to set roots. It can use the wheat plant can use the endosperm as energy until it can sprout leaves to capture energy from the sun, right?
Oh, okay. I mean, that's why it's so nutritious because
That's exactly right. And so the wheat germ is actually where like the healthy omega-3 fatty acids and vitamins and nutrients. So each component of the whole grain has health benefits.
Okay, so what are some examples?
Well, so there's a lot of different ways to consume whole grains. For example, farro. So farro is the intact kernel. Classically, it's from Immor wheat, or another wheat species that's grown in more warm weather climates. We have wheat berries. So wheat berries, again, it's a whole grain of wheat, which typically comes from a wheat plants that are grown in cooler climates.
Okay.
We have oat groats. So again, oat groats are the whole oat seed, the bran, the germ, the endosperm. You may have heard of steel cut oats. So all steel cut oats are wheat groats that have been just ground up in smaller pieces.
Cool.
But but the grain is intact, right?
So so steel cut oats, even though they are just the same as.
They're still whole grains.
Yeah. Okay.
That's right.
That's crazy.
Now, a lot of people talk about quinoa. Quinoa is not technically a whole grain, although people use it like a whole grain, and from a culinary standpoint, it's actually a seed. But again, it's got a lot of the same health benefits. The problem is most of the grains that are consumed in the Western world are not whole grains.
Yeah.
They're refined. And so you take a wheat berry and you strip off the bran.
Okay.
You throw away the fiber.
Mm-hmm.
You take out the wheat germ. And the reason they do that, for example, when you make bread is the wheat germ, because it has these healthy fatty acids, the fatty acids can go rancid if they sit out for long enough. So they spoil, it makes the bread more prone to spoiling. So that's the reason they remove the wheat germ.
Oh.
So all you're left was the endosperm. And in the modern world, the plants that are the wheat that's been kind of crossbred through the years is to maximize the amount of carbohydrate or sugar that you get. So you got these great big huge endosperm left, right? And you run it through a rolling mill, grind it up into flour, and then you bleach it white.
Yeah.
And because you've thrown away 99% of the vitamins and minerals in the fiber, they literally spray vitamins back on. So when you see the word enriched white flour, that is literally had all the good stuff thrown away, including the vitamins, that they've literally mechanically sprayed back on. The enrichment isn't to make it more healthy, it's to replace the vitamins and the nutrients that they threw away in the processing, right?
So people, food companies, factories, whatever, have gone through a lot of work to make these whole grains quite unhealthy.
That's exactly right. Because again, the sugar, when we eat a whole grain, our bodies have to digest that, right? And the sugar is much less readily available, and our sugar levels don't spike, so we don't make a lot of insulin. When we refine this is like eating sugar, right? So this carbohydrate is readily available. It causes our sugar levels to rise very quickly, causes insulin levels to spike, on and on, which is not good.
Very addictive, and that's a whole nother subject. Okay, got it. So, what are we looking for on labels? I mean, because you see these whole grains and multigrain, all these things. Like, what are we looking for when we're shopping?
Yeah, it can be very confusing.
Yeah.
So if you really want it to be sure that it's, for example, a loaf of bread is truly whole grain, it needs to say 100% whole grain. Okay.
Okay.
Now, you might see a loaf that says made with whole grains. That doesn't really mean anything, right? It could have a little, it could have a lot. There's no definition of that. If it says whole grain, not 100% whole grain, but it says whole grain, it only has to have 51% whole grain, right? So the rest can be white flour. If it says,
I should be taking notes.
Yeah, if it says a good source of whole grain, by definition, that's 15 to 25% true whole grains. If it says good source of whole grains, and then you'll see things like multigrain.
Yeah.
Multigrain it can have mostly refined grains. It can have no refined grains. Again, there's really no clear definition. And the reason it's important to really focus on these whole grains is tons and tons of fiber. Fiber helps us helps lower cholesterol and helps us lose weight and lower blood sugar. So it helps decrease the risk of things like diabetes and heart disease. It damps out these big swings in our blood sugar, right? It's highly antioxidant. It's highly nutrient dense. It's been shown to help reduce the risk of colon cancer as well. The fiber that's in these whole grains serve as a prebiotic, which is to help us maintain a healthy gut microbiome, right? So it's food that a healthy gut microbiome needs, and we know more and more that a disrupted gut microbiome is associated with many conditions.
Huge. Yeah, the studies that are coming out now is just
Exactly.
crazy. So interesting. All right, so I can understand why people are confused. I mean, this is my job to cook with these whole grains and other whole foods, and then I sometimes still am a little bit confused about what I'm using sometimes, just because of all these different words and the way these companies can describe their product.
Right.
So today I'm going to take the confusion away.
Yes.
And use my favorite, the wheat berry, and it's so, oh my gosh, the texture of these wheat berries is so wonderful. And we're just going to make a real simple salad using wheat berries and a couple other things. So let's get cooking. Yeah. We're going to start with 1 cup of cooked wheat berries. They've been cooked for about 45 minutes. And that's going to give a really nice, almost chewy texture. Then we're going to go to tomatoes. And you know what this reminds me of is the cancer episode where we were eating the rainbow. So we have a ton of wonderful colors here. Now we're going to add in a red bell pepper. I knew I could say it. This is a cucumber. You can choose to peel it or not. This is a mixture. I love this mixture of parsley and mint. So fresh. Those can be really any herbs you want, but those are the ones I've chosen. This is, of course, a red onion. And for a little bit of crunch and some of those good omegas, we're going to add in our walnuts. Look how pretty that already is, yeah? Now we're going to dress it with just a little bit of lemon, but you can use really anything you want. You can use any kind of citrus would be really nice in here. Or if you have a favorite vinaigrette, or maybe just one of those flavored vinegars like a balsamic or a pear vinaigrette or vinegar.
Yeah. I like the fig one.
That fig one, that little sweetness, yeah. And really as much as you want. We'll just do 1 full lemon. It's so fresh, right? Oh my gosh, it's so delicious.
Then you're going to bump that up with a little lemon zest on top of that, right?
Yes, sir. So just get out your microplane, something that I think every kitchen should have.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll give just a little bit more kick of that lemon, right? And it's just so pretty. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. Okay.
Who ever thought that a salad would make my mouth water?
I know. I know. This is not bunny food here.
Right.
Just a little pinch of some salt. That's totally up to you. And some freshly ground pepper.
Right.
Now, just give it a toss. Really get all those flavors getting to know each other, well mixed.
Wow.
And this really is best if you put it in the fridge for about a half hour, let it chill down, and let all the flavors meld, and then we can dig in.
Who wouldn't? I mean, that's just it's so appealing. We always say you eat with your eyes, man. That my eyes are telling me dig in. That's
right.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay. So let's clean up while this is chilling down, and then we'll eat up. Well, there is no confusing that this is 100% whole grain salad.
Yeah, I don't think you need a label to understand that.
No, probably not.
Right.
Look how gorgeous this is. All these colors.
Yeah,
There you go.
wait. So, Caryn, people don't really realize that every bite of a nutritious recipe, this wonderfully delicious food,
Yeah.
is really an investment in their health.
It's the truth. And invest in your health and become a member at the Center for Plant-Based Living. You're going to get so much support, so many resources. We have monthly cooking classes, support calls. You even get to talk to this guy once a quarter. And best of all, you're going to be in good company with other people who are also reversing their chronic health issues and preventing other health issues that might be coming down the road. So go to thedocandchef.com, and for just $1 a day, you'll become a member and start reversing your chronic health issues and preventing yours as well. We'll see you next time.